Have any of you here heard of a man named Alfred Nobel? Anyone? Just, yeah. What this guy did, right? What is it that we know him for? Can anyone just shout it out? Yes. So the Nobel Peace Prize, but somebody over here said dynamite. And I was like, yes. So Alfred Nobel was one who was instrumental in what we now know as dynamite and kind of making that process together and putting them in sticks and blowing things up, and was making quite a bit of money from some of his inventions, not just dynamite, but some of the other things that he and his brothers and his dad were able to concoct and to be able to, just in the midst of the 19th century, a lot of progress happening, really advancing these things. And one day, Alfred's dad passed away, and it was hard enough to lose his dad, but then when he opened up the newspaper, he realized that they didn't print his dad's obituary, they printed Alfred's. And as he's reading his own obituary, have any of you ever done this? I've not had that happen to me. He's reading all of these terrible things that people are saying about him. You know, they think he's on the other side of the grave, so they're just smearing him like this monster, this abominable person who would do such things, and he wasn't a nice guy anyway, and just really cut to the heart. And he said at that moment, he resolved to be able to make changes. And it was there where he was able to give a large sum of money to the advancement in various fields where there could be prizes that would be given to the people who were advancing our society to make it better. Not so much with dynamite, but with maybe some explosions of great good and justice and peace in our world. And that's how we know Alfred Nobel today. But I just think about that moment as I read this. It was recognizing how there are a lot of times where you and I will allow the 2024 or 2025 mark, the new season, to be the time where we have a resolution. Or there'll be a time where when we maybe perhaps end a semester or start one. Okay, now I'm finally going to study. Or now I'm finally going to, for many of us, go to the gym or make some other, be nice to my relatives, or, and that's hard to do after Christmas time to start that resolution, but to make some sort of effort. For Alfred, he didn't have that choice. It was foisted upon him. He had to make the choice, but it wasn't this huge marker of an end of a season or not. You and I think, have this opportunity not just to allow 24 to 25 to be a passing thing that we just go into, but to really say, what's my motivation behind having my resolution? If it comes out of a place of goodness and understanding that I'm good and that I'm loved, then I can make a decision that's life-giving to me. I can make a decision that's going to be life-giving to others. I'm going to finally stop cursing, you might say. Well, great. That's good. That's going to help both you and other people. I'm finally going to not gesticulate wildly at the other drivers who are incompetent on the road. Great. That's a good thing that's going to help the betterment of not just yourself, but society. But if you are using that resolution out of a place of you're no good, then it's just going to, I think it's going to fail. Because it's just this pressure to be able to do these things so that maybe if you do them well, then you'll be good. I just think that's a lie, and we've got to just recognize what it is that we're resolving to do and why it is that we're resolving to do it. I think being here tonight is a great opportunity for us to receive the love of God so that we can go into the new year fortified by that love, recognizing that we're being called to that resolution with Him, and that God sees all the good things that we're doing, and He doesn't discount them. But He wants to encourage us, He wants to strengthen us, He wants to deepen in us the desire to do the good and to do the good for our society in the way that it needs to be done. Obituaries beside, whatever people might think of us, that we're able to say, I really want to do this because it's the right thing to do, but I'm going to need some help in doing it. One of my favorite stories of John Paul II is a sad story in his life when he lost his mom at a really young age. He was about 8. And as he and his family went soon after to Our Lady of Czestochowa's shrine, he said there, and as he was reflecting on it, that he was just looking at the Black Madonna there in this image of her, and he said, well, you must be my mother now. And to be able to say that as he was entrusting himself to Our Lady, that he was able to listen to how it is that not just he could be better, but how she was inviting him to receive the strength to be better. Not from her only, but from her son. That's what our second reading suggests today, is that we've been adopted as sons and daughters. And so if we've been adopted by God, and if God gives us his very mother on the cross, he says to John, behold your mother. And he says to Mary, behold your son. That we've been adopted into this family. So we also, St. Paul to the Galatians says, that means we're heirs. So we have an inheritance that we get to receive. And part of that inheritance that we're receiving is God's special, distinct love for us, but it's also the great strength that we need to be resolved to do the good in the world. So I think that that's why the church puts this feast day of Mary, the Mother of God, at the new year, because the church wants us to remember that we've got a mom that wants to help us. It's fun hearing people talk about their different Marian stories. Like, yeah, I was praying, and the Blessed Mother just wouldn't leave me alone. There's a Jesuit who was at SLU High when I was there, and he told the story as he was escaping a retreat center as a young man to go call his girlfriend, that he passed this statue of the Blessed Mother, and he said, tell your son to leave me alone. But he didn't make the phone call. He instead just stayed with the Blessed Mother in the midst of the snow. And there's just countless other stories, and you might even have some Mary stories yourself. If you don't feel like you have a good relationship with the Blessed Mother, or maybe it's something that's been difficult, whether it's through a conversion or just maybe through your own relationship with your own mom, I would just encourage you, maybe that's one of the resolutions that you can make this year, is to take a step forward and just to say, hey, I want to have a conversation with you, Blessed Mother. I want to allow you to be my mom. You already are, but I want you to be somebody that is a part of my life and that I get to journey with. Because maybe doing it by ourselves isn't always working out. Maybe some of those resolutions fall flat because they're not rooted in a real purpose and a genuine love and trust in someone that cares for us. So that's my encouragement. And again, really glad that you started your new year off, or at least the end of your year off with celebrating us with Mass today.